We're jumping into this mech review with the Mongoose, a very interesting light mech, one that I regularly play, and I consider this a sleeper mech. I mean, in my meta and my travels, it's not something that I regularly see or I see other people playing. And of course, the question there is, why? Is this something that we can discover or uncover? Now, in looking at it, and I've seen it referenced essentially to a poor man's Jenner, this idea, or a Jenner without hands. It mounts some significant weapons for a light mech, similar to the Jenner. Doesn't have quite as much, but the difference that you're saving is almost 100 battle value. 100 battle value. That saves up over a lance or two, or that 100 battle value you can bank and put on to a medium or a heavy type mech. Because yes, absolutely, firepower is important across any mech class, but a light mech can only do so much. And I'm not necessarily talking about what it can hold, but just the armor from that perspective. Mongoose has got some nice flash, some nice zap, with an interesting twist that the Jenner does not. So jumping in, primary weapons, 3 medium lasers. That's got bite. You know, what we see on most stock, non-specialized light mechs, your primary weapon is a medium laser. Secondary weapons will be machine guns, SRM 2-pack, small lasers. This has 3, which means 10 heat sinks, base heat sinks. You're going to be firing 1 every single turn. It's kind of like the Spider. If you're in range, you're firing it. We're firing 1 every turn. Then, as we engage and we need a little bit more push, we're going to fire 2 a turn, and we're going to watch that heat. I might engage for a turn or 2 and then back off, clear the heat. This thing clears heat very fast if you're firing 2. And if I have to push for the alpha strike, I've got the 3 plus the small laser for that close-in work. So pushing that out, where it becomes interesting is this has the probe on it, which in the core rules allows you to detect hidden units up to, I believe, 4 hexes out. I have to check that. But from that perspective, this is a great hide-and-seek type mech where some things are hidden. You want to flush them out. You want to engage them. And you want to have some zap to engage them or some zap and then pull away. As long as you're not actively discovering a short-range missile carrier embedded somewhere, it's a nice, interesting Tactica flexibility. What's also kind of nice is sending it out to recon city fight, city tech to discover things where you want to have a light mech that can do that, but still have some firepower if it needs to based on what it encounters. And you don't want to send out a medium or a heavy to do kind of recon scouting type work. But even without that perspective on it, as a primary role, a good light mech, hunting down other light mechs, working as part of a lance, adding some medium lasers, even pushing it where if you engage lance to lance and you can get the Mongoose to rear armor of an opponent, even if it's a heavy, if it's a medium, and you blast away, you alpha strike, you push that heat with those 3 medium lasers, that's big. No ammunition, completely energy-based. I consider that, honestly, secondary in a light mech, because by the time you get to internals in a light mech, you're probably falling apart and getting cored out as it is. I'm thinking right now, I can't remember the last time I had a light mech ammo explosion. They just don't really last. They just get zapped through. So the fact that it's an energy mech, when you see that starting on mediums, but really heavies and assaults, you're not prone to ammo explosion. So certainly the Mongoose is not prone to ammo explosion. You could push the heat a little bit further if you had to. You're safe there. But in terms of going to internals and blowing up, just by the time that happens, you're there. In terms of resupply, you know, maybe as a deep recon, if you're part of a campaign, we can explore that. But I would find the Mongoose, I would find other mechs better suited for a campaign-based deep recon. I'm not saying take a Charger, but there are other mechs with better speed, better armor suited to that, although you could push it into that. So an interesting sleeper mech. You know, it's got some zap, it's got some bite. I wonder why we don't see it more on the table.